Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome, one and all, to another episode of A Death of a Dark Crusade Season 2. On this beautiful evening, set within the less than beautiful district of Riverside, two Canaanites have returned to the area brief after a brief visit a week ago. Having been toured down the district itself by Christoph, an officer of the City Watch and good friend to Menmon. Unfortunately, Christoph could not tour them throughout the whole district, as some areas are still ran by local gangs, and Eirene, being considered a member of the most esteemed of the Edessen elite, couldn't possibly put her at risk to such vandals and thuggery. And so part of the tour has been delayed. But this time, Eirene and Menmon have decided to simply be much more direct about the matter and head down themselves, not really wanting to wait time for a watch escort down the area just to appease or such as the pretense of appeasing the curiosity of a young noble's daughter. They have simply decided to go looking themselves. And that's where we set this scene with an armored Menmon and an armored Eirene, both heading into Riverside, well equipped for whatever mischief they might encounter. You can intro yourselves now, guys. You can intro yourselves now.
Oh, I thought we were still needed to be silent.
Why are you whispering? Introduce yourself.
Rude.
What are you talking about? Anyway, yeah. Go on.
So, go ahead. By all means, go ahead.
I suppose when the two Canaanites are in the proper area that is Riverside, Memnon would whisper to Eirene, "Are you sure, decked in our armor, we're not looking for trouble? We look as though we are seeking violence."
I mean, we'll look down on her dress. It says, well, I did bring a cloak to hide it. Is it still noticeable?
I see Memnon look you up and down. Perhaps I just have an eye for this. I hope the vagrants have worse vision. They might be bold and try and take from expensive wares.
Fair enough. Well, we'll just have to be careful. I'm sure we'll be fine.
Oh, I'm certain that we will be fine. Well, we would not want some incident reaching the ears of certain people.
No, I suppose not.
Since you are the one with the proper station, should anyone ask, do say to them that I am but a hired sword.
All right. I can say that. So, shall we look for the church first?
By all means, if that's what you wish, then yes, the church. Perhaps we can see what competition we'll have with our own.
Also, it's highly likely that this individual might know more about the people in Riverside and therefore might know more about these pagan things that are happening.
What do you mean by pagan things?
As far as I know, and I'm not quite sure if I have the entire story correct, but there seem to be cults in this area, sort of sacrificial shrines happening, and I think it might have something to do with not necessarily a pagan god, but more, and well, I'm worried it might be demon worshipping.
You see Memnon wing your words in his head as he bobs it to back and to left and to the right. I can see how it can be misconstrued that way. Or perhaps it is truth. Well then, let's go find out.
If it's truth, then we should not bother them. It's like, if they want to be misguided, that is their own choice. But like I said, I feel there might be something behind it that might interest us. So where
Indeed.
did your friend say this church was again?
Said it would be across the river.
Right.
It's quite a ways to go.
Then let's get walking.
Memnon gestures for you if you wish to take lead.
Okay. She will. And off they go. Walking.
And onward you go.
Yes.
To the church, the only real standing church left in Riverside.
Yes, for now.
Led, actually, you know what? You wanna know stuff about this church? I have a roll for you. Roll me your manipulation contacts rating, difficulty 7.
Okay.
For anyone that has contacts, just in general.
General contacts.
I mean, just your contacts rating. So, because this is
Okay.
all about getting in contact with minor contacts, not your major contacts.
Manipulation. Where is my background? Contacts. Yeah, okay. I can roll this. Only one success, but still.
Me no have contacts.
Okay. So difficulty for this is 7. Do you not have contacts, Menmon?
Have a name.
I'll I'll PM you your information in the meantime, Saskia.
Okay. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Check.
Menmon,
Oh, sorry.
do you not have the contacts?
Hmm?
Do you not have contacts, Menmon?
No, I don't.
Okay, yeah, you can't make this roll then. Never mind. Yeah, that is what you get. This is what Eirene has heard about this particular gentleman. And actually, I will add in a quick bonus. There you go. So,
Okay. Interesting. So as they're going, Irene will kind of, lean into Memnon so that they walk close together, but and we'll just on a very soft tone explain. Um, so the leader of this church, of this congregation, is called Father Thomas. He came to Edessa from Constantinople about 20 years ago, and he inherited this church from his forebear. He is known to be kind and wizened. But recently their congregation has been thriving amongst the common people. Nobody really knows why, though.
Well, I suppose that's something else we can try to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder. It's you get to this point where everything sounds kind of suspect one way or another.
I suppose it's because of the company we keep.
I suppose so, yeah.
and so, in steady silence, they travel onward.
Everything needs to be wild conversation.
Well, Memnon would be keeping his eyes peeled if there were people following them or looking at them the wrong way.
This part of the neighborhood is notably seedier than the ones that are than the ones you came from. As you head across the river and into the east side of Riverside, it is notably less secure. It's probably because you're well armed and well armored, and it's a fairly public display of power that you haven't been bothered yet. Or maybe you've just been lucky. There is the occasional City Watch guard that passes through, usually in a small group of 3. But you notice that the patrols are definitely a lot thinner here. And it's almost... the way they seem to walk is... it's almost overcautious. It's skittish. It's jumpy. They seem very surprised you're here when they see you, and they actually... One of the groups actually stops and has a brief chat with you about that before seeing you on your way. And you also run into your fair share of shady figures as well, but it's hard to tell whether they're just normal people or whether they are actual criminals. They don't go out of their way to do anything to you.
Us, or they just move on.
Yep, they just move on. But soon, you're at this church. This church rests not particularly far from the river itself. It's in the center east side. Kind of off on its own as a building. Completely detached from the rest of the neighborhood. It's less a church more than it is a slightly large chapel. It's not particularly big.
I will have to ask, though. Does Irene recognize this church?
No.
Okay, good. She'll be relieved about that. So, yeah, then I guess they'll head inside.
Yeah, you actually, as you kind of go up to enter, you actually see what appear to be some peasant volunteers kind of helping maintain and guard the ground.
Okay.
Are they, or are they? How do I say this? Are they kind of like guards, like they're watching the entrance or like patrolling, or are they just like hanging around in a sense?
They're largely hanging around and performing chores, like raking the grass and such. It's largely just busy work, simple labor, and gardening, really. Right now, they're doing more gardening than anything else.
They're doing gardening in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's odd.
It is. Yeah, it's very odd. They also work like 13-hour days. They don't have a lot of time during the day.
Oh, I mean, okay.
Labor laws aren't a thing yet, and that is my excuse. I don't mean gardening as in like, oh, they're pruning flowers or anything. It's nothing so fancy. They're just like literally got a spade.
Okay.
It's less, I say gardening, it's more like simple labor. That's kind of gardening, but not really. It's more like tending to the earth, really.
They're aerating it. Turning soil.
Yeah, there's a you can actually see off to the side, like towards the back side of the chapel, there is like a small growing area where there like seems to be growing vegetables and stuff.
Mm.
That's largely where all that. So they're really just digging and just trying not to ruin the carefully planned out work of people who are far better at this than they.
Interesting. Well, I'll give it to this Father Thomas. He promotes hard work. It's admirable.
Indeed. Do you think it's smart to try and talk to these people, or shall we just head in?
Wouldn't hurt to have a small conversation with them.
You can
learn.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no! We can possibly learn more about the church and the Father from different perspectives.
This is true.
So, the chapel is made of stone and is fairly thin, although it has a small extension to its left. There are there is a glass window on each on the left and right side. And you can see from beneath the door and the windows itself that there is a faint glow. It does appear to be lit inside. And one of the peasant volunteers, when they pass you, they do just kind of give you a wave and a hello. Fairly friendly.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening.
We are looking for a Father Thomas.
Oh, yes, he's just inside. He'll be going to bed soon, but
Oh dear. Would we be interrupting him, you think, this late?
Oh no, this is you got him at one of the best times, really. It's one of the few times he's really available for chats.
I see.
Why did you want to see him? He should just be in the main hall from what I know. I'm just here helping out with his little patch over there.
Yes, we would like to see him. We've heard so much about his wisdom.
Oh, really? That's good to hear. I didn't know his name would spread so far. To think, from a tiny little chapel like this.
Word reaches out to those who listen.
Well, we could really use that right now.
Why are there troubles?
It's Riverside.
This is fair.
I take it you're not from Riverside.
Indeed, I am not. Is there a way we can help? We are faithful Christians. Well, she'll say Christians, knowing that Memnon probably is not, but for now she will just take this. And we would like to help.
Good one.
You give him enough money and he can be.
Well.
and we would like to help out a community in need.
He looks a little bit. He does actually kind of give you that sound.
I mean, come on, Irene probably even sounds rich, so let's not beat around the bush. This guy can probably tell.
He does. Yeah, he looks slightly skeptical. He tries. He tries for you, but obviously there's obviously a hint of skepticism there. Well, you have your work cut out for you. City Watch have cleared up most of Riverside apart from here, really. I'm not sure if we're ever really going to be able to clean up the east side. And if you're not from here, really, it's no concern. I mean, you don't need to be so worried about it.
I'm sorry. Is this person young or old? Somewhere in between.
Young.
Young. Okay.
Late teens. Really, I mean, you'd be much. I think you'd be much more comfortable in the Christian or the Merchant's Quarter, or much safer over there.
Most likely, but wouldn't we want that safety for everyone?
Young
Yes,
lad.
but no point removing your own safety without any real gain for others, right?
That's where you're wrong, sir. Us good Christians. If you want to make if you want me to make a manipulation roll for it, I will. Let me just finish what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, it just sounds so stilted.
Us good Christians are numbered here, perhaps 10, 15 to 1. Memnon looks at Eirene for like confirmation or whatever. Only by sticking together and helping each other could we ever possibly grow and make the city a godly city again. So, yeah, I'll just roll that manipulation real quick.
You roll it.
Would be 6, difficulty 6.
Well, to be fair, you got like a bunch of successes. So you are totally a good Christian. You sound less enthused, but no less committed to the cause. But yeah, he just says, okay, well, just give me a moment. I'll see if Father Thomas is around for you.
Thank you.
No problem. I'll just be a moment. He puts down like a sack, presumably full of dirt or compost or something.
When he leaves, can Memnon like go into the sack and just see what's in there?
I mean, it's tied. You could just untie it and see.
So yeah, Memnon looks in the sack.
I said the curiosity floor is nothing, but yeah. Yeah, you look inside. It's compost. It smells gross.
Mm. So yeah, Memnon would like take a little bit of it, put it to his nose, and kind of feel it. They could get better. I know a farmer who might actually be able to help them out.
Yep. Sounds like dirt and greenery mixed with feces. Great, really.
Hey, germs don't exist yet in this time period.
Clearly not enough feces. Need more.
Though, Irene, it is true what I said.
Mhm.
Christian community here is heavily outnumbered. The only way to balance the scales is if the Christian community help each other grow.
Well, yeah, I can understand that.
After a moment. The young boy, well, a young adult boy, just comes on out again. He says, yeah, he's around. What did you do with the sack, by the way?
Oh, I would have tied it back and
Okay.
left it where it was.
Yeah, he's available right now. He's just in the main hall. He's just helping one of his patients. I completely forgot to ask. Who are you?
Shit!
He
You
kind of
can
tilts his head when you say,
You can call me Julia for now.
I mean, okay, is there a problem?
A problem?
I mean, like, Julia for now, like,
Mm.
is it a pseudonym or something?
No, as you said, this area is not the most safe, and I would like to keep my last name to myself, unless that is a problem.
Are you wanted or something? Like, by the guard? Do you...
The lady does not need scandal. Her being here could create a false perception. Also, if people were to know that she frequented this place, some might look to kidnapping her and taking her for ransom.
Okay.
This kid does not look like he just got ideas right.
No, not really. He just
Okay.
seems very surprised, and it's like, oh, he puts that 2 and 2 together in his head and he gets 4, and then he's like, oh. But rather than like having that, oh god, I should show respect, he's more like, what the fuck is happening right now? Why is this a thing? Like, it's what he's thinking. Like, what? He seems more utterly bewildered by the situation than anything else, so he's a bit unsure how to react. He says, I guess, yeah, Lady Julia, by all means, he'll open the door for you.
Thank you. Most kind.
You're
No.
welcome. And you too, I never got your name either.
Oh, I'm her bodyguard. You can refer to me as Sir.
So. We planned this out so well.
A little bit derisively. Like, only one person is protected by noble status here, and it ain't Menmon. Right.
At least he didn't get an Came ready with that one.
No. I was not ready. Stupid enough.
Well, I'll be around if you need me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just get rid of this and I'll be right on in.
All right.
And yeah, he'll once you walk on through, he'll kind of go to deal with that compost, and we'll probably be heading back around to you guys in a couple of minutes, but leaves you free to approach the priest, who is a rather gaunt fellow in his late 40s. Gaunt, tall, and wiry. With tan skin and graying hairs. He's got quite a hefty beard, and but he's he has not actually gone bald at all. He's got quite the how do you say, a full head of hair. So he does fit the description that Eirene got of being rather wizened.
Mm-hmm. Oh dear.
The beard's not particularly long, more than it is a little bit bushy.
Sorry about that.
It's fine.
And you can see him tending to several people who he has laying down towards the front of the hall. Near the pulpit. He has them wrapped quite snugly in rather plain-looking blankets, and they're actually quite clean. And you can see him feeding something to one of the patients. You can also see that he's bandaged one of their arms and one of their eyes. Appears they've been bloodied a little bit, but other than that, they don't look too bad for too beat up. They look more bruised than anything. The one he's actually treating is actually sat up on a pew. They're not actually with the people who are wrapped up in blankets. So we're kind of near the pulpit, but kind of off to the side of the platform where the pulpit is. So they're not all lined out where people would walk over them. They're actually quite kind of out of sight, out of mind in a way. where there's enough space for them to lay. There's not too many people. It's just about 4 or 5. And this one other guy that he's treating right now.
First of all, like as the two of them will enter, Irene will just study the chapel and how it's built up, and like just because she's still worried that something might have something to do with this church. So she's basically just checking to see if this is like a proper church. I mean, judging from the cross that she is hanging around her neck, which does not do anything weird, she's gonna presume that if she were to walk on how do you say it, like tainted ground instead of holy ground, that she would probably feel it somehow. But she's still just gonna check out, like, is everything in order in this church?
Yeah, nothing appears to be out of place. There's not really that much to be out of place. The walls are quite plain. The walls, sorry, the obviously it the walls arc upwards to form a ceiling, held together by wooden support beams that kind of stretch from one side of the roofing to another.
Okay.
But nothing appears to be particularly out of place. There is a room off to the side.
Mm-hmm. So
which
nothing
you can
weird
imagine
with
the
altar or something,
No, nothing appears to be odd. Again, there's really just a bunch of pews, an elevated platform, a pulpit.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real religious iconography here, other than a crucifix on the left wall, the right wall, and the back wall. The back wall has a rather large crucifix, and then the other two appear to be more like they're quite small.
Mm-hmm.
They're more ornamental than anything else.
Yeah, well, that kind of makes sense in this area. You don't want to have really like precious relics lying around here.
Oh no, and it's all very simple, like cheap.
Yeah.
Like they're all wooden. They don't look rough. They're not like it's not like they've been scrapped, like they've been cobbled together. Like they're decently made. Like whoever made this knew what they were doing, but all it really requires is to like a person nailing a thin piece of wood to another thin piece of wood. It's not very hard. So
okay, and
yeah, it's very simple. It's very Spartan.
Okay. Well, I think Irene is not going to bother him if he's like tending to someone, so she would just make herself known, like, standing in at a place where he can see her, but wouldn't really like interrupt him tending to the wounded, because that's important work.
Yeah. Does anyone want to make perception alertness checks to overhear him?
Sure.
Sure. Let me see. Perception alertness. I'm not quite sure what I have for that. Oh, wow. That's higher than I thought. I got 2 successes.
Okay, we'll start with a 2. He appears to state something in Italian. He kind of just mutters
Ooh.
something to himself in Italian before saying to his patient, handing him something. Take this for the next 2 weeks. Come back to me whenever you run out. Just take half a vial a day. It should cover you.
Shit.
Should ease the pain.
I've got Latin, not Italian. God damn
I've got Italian.
it. Nice.
Should aid in the healing if... If it does not help, tell me, and I'll find something more potent to help you. Just stay out of trouble. I don't need more idiots getting into fights with gangs. We have enough of that already. His patient grumbles. Appears to be, again, a young lad. He says, well, go on.
So,
Well, I was just trying to help, sir. I know. And look at where it's got you. Back at my door again. You already come here every Sunday. I already see enough of you. Now go on, because I don't want to be holding your funeral either. Fine. Father. He just like does it in that just resting bitch tone. Like a lot of angsty teenagers. And as he gets up, he goes, ouch. And the father just kind of looks at him as like with that, did you just swear in my church? Look. And the boy just goes, sorry. And then kind of scarpers off.
Irene will smile vaguely at hearing all that.
He sighs to himself. And then he looks to you, realizing that people have just been kind of staring at him this whole time.
Yep.
I'm sorry, is there anything I can do to help you? I don't believe we've... I'm Father Thomas. He speaks to you both in Arabic.
Okay. Greetings, Father Thomas. It is an honor to meet you.
An honor? Nothing of the sort. Just a simple man keeping to his holy temple, as it were. Are you new to Riverside? I certainly hope not. This isn't a pleasant place to live.
We are here on behalf of Riverside. We want to help Riverside become a better place for the people who need it to be a better place for. And we've heard a lot of good about your community. So We came here to find out how we could help.
He looks somewhat amused in a rather wry fashion. He actually emits a light chuckle. To help, I must say, you're slightly late to that particular festivity. But please, by all means, we could use it.
We've heard you are the only church, the only Christian church here in Riverside.
The only one left standing, at least.
An impressive feat with everything Riverside has gone through, indeed.
Or simply that the others were lacking in the commitment they were supposed to have when they joined the church.
Then
A shepherd does not abandon their flock to hungry wolves. They fight for them tooth and nail.
And as I can see, there is still fighting to be done, as she kind of gestures to the people, the sick, the ill, the wounded, people that are lying there.
Oh, they are. That is nothing more than simple sickness. Can be remedied with a bit of medicine here and there. And most people in Riverside are too poor to afford a physician or anyone from an apothecary to help them, so that leaves them at my door. The lad you saw earlier, well, he's the real fighter. Can't say I'm not proud, but I fear I'll only be hosting his funeral if he keeps going at it the way he is.
Who is it that he fights?
Are you from the Christian Quarter? You must be very far out of Riverside to not know the sort of men that lurk around these particular neighborhoods.
So he is a perpetrator of violence?
Perpetrator? No, more so a victim of it. None of us would be fighting if we didn't have to. But we must, and so it is. And the City Watch is busy renovating the center of town. Which, of course, means we're still left to fend to ourselves. But that is fine. We have made do, and we shall do so. We have made do of what we have, and we shall continue to do so.
I would presume that such charity as yours, you must be running low on supplies.
I'm very self-sufficient. I grow my
A
own
little
food,
more.
my own ingredients. I need little else. I make sure that my congregation isn't left wanting.
Does your congregation require medicine, I've heard?
You've heard? Who's been telling you?
You said so just now, that they did not have the finances to get proper care.
No, but I consider myself more qualified than half the physicians in the city, so it's likely for the best.
Hmm.
Menon's going to ask him in Italian if Father Thomas is from Italy, if he is.
Huh. He kind of looks a little bit surprised before responding. No, I come from Constantinople.
Irene could not understand that because she told Memnon that he was from Constantinople.
I hail from one of the Dominican congregations there. All in Italian.
Well, out of character, I mean, he could have Constantinople or his parents been Italian.
Fair enough.
No. Okay. I guess Memnon would ask him if Constantinople, if that's where he learned his knowledge of medicine.
Do you say that in Italian?
Yeah, I'll keep it going. I'll just annoy her.
Yes. The knowledge there was well kept, and the sciences there bloomed like the royal garden itself. It's a shame what became of it.
I would suppose Menon might not know what became of Constantinople.
Now I'll just give this one to you for free. Constantinople was assaulted and sacked 2 years ago, or coming up to 2 years.
Okay.
During at the end of the Fourth Crusade, retaken by the Saracens. So,
Okay.
Needless to say, not many Christians were particularly happy about that. Particularly
Right.
people loyal to the Byzantine Empire, because that more or less was its end.
Well, Memnon will maybe make like a kind of like yeah that was a shame. But, I'm sorry, not to sound like a dick.
You are
But,
you are a snake oil salesman, sir. Oh wow, that's so sad, man. Buy my shit. Yeah,
So
my weapons
sorry.
are the best. Man, that was crazy. Imagine if they had real weapons from Menmon Core. Get your swords from Menmon Core today.
Oh no.
but no, I'm sorry. In all seriousness, Memnon will just kind of light up when he said, "Ah, you're a man of the sciences." He will
Sciences.
say that. Yeah.
In a sense, I suppose. I'm not. I'm not an academic myself, other than in the obvious. But I use what I have. I think you'll find that's the credo of most of us around here. And to our credit, we've done quite well in spite of everything that's happened.
Can I make just a perception empathy? Try to narrow down his nature.
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
You won't be able to figure out his nature through a perception or empathy roll because that's the purview of specific supernatural powers. Because
Okay.
it's effectively telling you the sort of core of what a person is, like their ideals and such. But you can get a basic grasp of how he seems to be.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. And fuck. Okay.
Yeah, you're not really able to get a good grasp from him. Other than that, he seems fairly fairly protective of the people he's looking after, which is fairly obvious. Yeah.
Well, Memnon will just give Eirene a look and a nod, thus ending my tormenting of her speaking in another language I can't understand.
We'll say to both of you in Arabic. But yes, what is it that you would wish to help with? While we are not necessarily accustomed to people outside our communities, we would be more than happy to accept any assistance on offer.
Well, in order to fully understand what we can do, a community hears more things than leak out of it. What are the issues that the rest of Odessa does not know about? I've heard a long time ago a rumor about a certain cult rising. Is that still an issue?
A cult? No. I know little about any cults other than some of the Avestan folk in the neighborhood. I never really saw reason to act against them. Yes, they did not follow our beliefs, but they were good people. They were of no harm to us. In fact, many of them even visited our own gatherings on occasion. We even had public dinners together, although that was many months ago.
So you would say that they were good, upstanding members of the community of Riverside.
Yes, they've never been particularly popular with many, but I've done what I can to try and mend bridges between us and them when they were broken. There were fights often between the younger men of our community. You know how they can be. Always looking for an excuse to one-up each other and all that. But we'd always work things out. And at the end of it, usually they'd even be the best of friends. But that was a while ago, and the plague tore us all apart, really.
Yes, it ruined many things.
We all retreated into ourselves. I'd actually be quite surprised if many of them would be were left at the end of it. They were always few in number among us. Not many left that follow the old faith. But I sympathize with them. I've tried to help them where I can. I even tried to bring some of them back into good health. But all futile in the face of such a horrific ailment.
Yes. It is good to hear that the communities that reside in Riverside work together.
For what those among us are left, we are largely segregated from other communities in Riverside. In fact, I'm not sure if there are many left. We used to be much larger. You could say we were many communities. Not so anymore. I know there are others further to the south and the west, but there are ways away from us, and well, they no longer labor under the same problems we do.
It's
Thankfully
important.
for them, the City Watch has kept them safe. We, however, are not so fortunate. At least not yet. I can only hope that, in time, the City Watch will be able to cleanse all of Riverside. Brothers of Paul give the men and women of Christendom all a bad name. They should be stamped out.
Yes.
So, if these brothers are dealt with, do you think this would recovery of Riverside?
Yes. It would do a great deal to at least relieve us and many among the eastern neighborhoods. It's been a while since I've spoken to many of them. I know a couple of families south of us, but there's just not many of us left. I hear the city is trying to encourage people to move back in, but I can't imagine many people moving back into the east side. It is
Perhaps not yet.
strange.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be that we could keep to ourselves and usually get along just fine, even with the Brothers of Paul around. They'd usually be so busy fighting the Soze that they'd have little time for us. Obviously, a bit of debt collecting and racketeering here and there, but we were always able to hold our corner, as it were, or just simply get by without issues. Then Soze and the Aramis Quarter were killed and, well, gave the Brothers of Paul a strong foothold over us here. Almost pushed them out of the city, and they have a stranglehold on Riverside now. Apart from the Vorstedt up to the north, at least, but they don't bother us. We're outside their territory. They've always been fairly honest when they have approached us.
Is it that they would be honest about their wants, their greeds?
No, the Vorstedt appear to be quite a pragmatic bunch. They just wanted to ensure that no one would inform on their dealings. In return, they offered us basic necessities. They went to me rather than other members of the community because I am, well, something of a focal point for everyone here. And they know that a lot of people listen to me. Personally, I know nothing of their illicit dealings, so it made it a rather easy choice. We're quite far to the south of them, so it surprised me that they went so far out of their way to deal with us. But some of them even come here now. Confess their sins and all.
I've heard that your community has grown quite substantially lately.
We have had more... We have had more people coming from outside Riverside. Like yourselves. I don't really know why, but frankly, I'm more than happy to accept them into my congregation. I'm quite thankful that they look upon me so kindly. But they don't live here. That's what I find strange. Many of them come from the Merchants District, Central Market. There are churches and chapels in far safer locations, far closer to them. I do not know why they would not go there and come here.
That is... interesting indeed.
If nothing else, it's caused the brothers to get skittish. They seem to be as curious as to that fact as I. But I can't imagine what they might be thinking.
What kind of people are these people that come to your church? These new people?
Mainly just merchants, craftsmen, laborers, citizens, again, mainly from the Merchants District, the guild halls, Central Market. Central Town.
Well,
Have you ever... Please go ahead.
no.
No, I can barely fit anyone in this chapel anymore on Sundays.
Have you ever asked them why they came here?
I have. It gave me the same reasoning as yourselves.
I see.
Frankly, I don't know where I'm getting the reputation from. But I suppose I can only be thankful that I have it at all. I'm more concerned that I won't be able to aid and protect those now part of my congregation, for there's so many. I work largely on my own here. I have no successor or apprentice. Although I am getting old enough to perhaps begin preparing for it.
And there's no one within your congregation that would like to become a man of God?
There are many, but he just kind of lets that hang there for a moment.
Worthy, Memnon guesses.
A friend of mine is a cleric. If you want to, I could ask if he has any apprentices or anyone who would be a good fit.
It's quite alright. The reason I have held it off on it for so long is because I do not wish for anyone to be a target. And moreover, so that, or rather he'll say, and in addition to that, they will not have the burden of having to tend to so many people. It's becoming almost burdensome, dangerous.
Do you consider yourself a target?
This chapel has been struck out at more than once by the brothers. We have forced them back every time, and we will continue to do so. They usually don't come in great numbers, but every response has elicited a stronger one. I think they consider us frustrating but not important enough to levy with the full weight of their malevolence. Or perhaps I'm not giving my people enough credit. We were positively besieged a couple of months ago.
It sounds downright awful.
We did. More than a few of my people died that day defending my life and those of their friends and families. For that I am eternally grateful. This chapel has no cemetery. That had no cemetery until that particular day. You could say it still doesn't. They're not large enough. But their headstones rest here. They deserved at least that much.
At least they are in the arms of God now.
Yes, they're in a far better place than Riverside. Then again, I suppose that is why I remain. But how would you see these brothers removed? You seem interested in the idea.
Well, either we could strengthen the guards, get them more able bodies, better weapons, equipment.
They're busy protecting a construction effort in the center of Riverside. I've already made my pleas. And you would not be the first to make, or rather, you would not be the second to make such pleas either.
I'm sure we can find the coin to perhaps pay for hired guards, or another method. I do know some good craftsmen. Perhaps we can reinforce this church in case you find yourself besieged, still guard up.
I would not wish for you to waste a coin on a temporary solution.
We could also
Well,
help out in financing your equipment for healing the people that need it. Medicine, herbs.
Honestly, that may do them better. But people need something to believe in, something positive to look forward to, something that gives them hope. Not something to hate. There's so much to hate in Riverside. It has done them no good. It has only made many of the people here worse. It's turned many of them into monsters.
Are there...
Sorry.
Please go
No,
ahead.
go on. No, go on, go on.
Are there any projects that might restore hope, improve housement, perhaps buying seeds so they can plant grain to make more food, cattle to take care of, anything that would provide them with a life?
Such tools would be better, such products would be better suited to the farmers on the west side of the city, but I can think of a few things that may be able to help. I would prefer... I apologize for this question. It may come across as rather rude, but can you read?
Yes.
Good. I'd prefer to write it to you so that it may remain confidential.
Of course.
If the less potential for information spilling over into the wrong hands, the safer we would all be.
Do you mean the Brotherhood?
Yes. Fortunately, many of them are quite illiterate.
But are you afraid that they are here? That they're listening?
No one in this community would ever act against us. No one would betray it. They never have, and they're never going to. The brothers have done so much wrong to them. And I believe that people know good and bad when they see it. They know right from wrong.
Good.
I find that people are braver than they are often given credit for. It is because people have been brave in the face of these murderers that we have been able to survive by not giving in to their demands and their threats.
That is very brave indeed. There is much that people are willing to do to defend their houses, their home, their family, the people that they love. I think that is one of the greatest things about, well, humankind.
I
I
think you'll
think that
find here.
is... Sorry.
I think you'll find here it is our love that drives us.
I think that is one of the things that truly shows the face of God in humanity.
I agree. So, Lady Julia, I'll write you that list. But if you could perhaps convince the City Watch to lend us even a meager bit of assistance, it would be greatly appreciated, and I'd be in your debt.
I will see what I can do. And you would not be in my debt. Like I said, we came here to help. There is no price between us.
Thank you. Words cannot express how much I appreciate that.
Shall I wait here for you to write this list?
It would only take me a few minutes, so if you would.
Please.
That, and I can ill afford a courier, I'm afraid. He'll head off into the side room, which when he opens it, you can see there's a bed there as well as a small desk, so, you know, 2 and 2. He'll close the door, and you have a few minutes to yourselves. You can see that the sick and the injured are quite fast asleep.
Okay. Irene will look at Memnon, and she has a bit of a worried look on her face. The idea that people from the center of town come here to pray, it makes no sense. Memnon?
You're not speaking Italian, he can't understand.
Right? I'm gonna speak in Greek just so that he can't hear what I'm saying. God damn it.
And then it turns out he could speak Greek the whole time.
Well, currently he's not speaking at all. Bruce, is there something wrong with your microphone, perhaps?
Yeah,
I think
Bruce,
so.
right now.
Yeah, he's been leaving and joining and leaving and joining for quite some time now.
Mm.
My internet is
Yes,
There we go.
there he is.
There's a fine Italian man.
And is he gone again? God damn it, you gotta be kidding me.
Bruce.
No.
No.
Well, damn.
very
Oh God, he's cutting out like a crazy.
sorry.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
That's terrible, terrible. Okay, well, just to fill the time until
guys
he's
hear me?
properly heard again, I think Irene is gonna try and find like an offer block or something at the, where you can leave donations. Did I lose a Chris as well?
No, I'm still here, don't worry.
Okay. Is there an offer block?
A what?
Oh God. It's like this wooden cube. It's basically like yeah. It's used to place offerings in, like usually coins and such.
An offer block.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said.
Yeah, there is. It's quite empty. Probably not because people lack charity here, just because they can't really afford to give anything away.
Irene will just dump a few silver coins in there.
Actually, no, it would be completely empty because it's been probably already been collected from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that would be like one of one of the things they do after, there'd be nothing in it.
Yeah.
Actually, if the
So-
congregation's so full, there'd probably be quite a bit. But yeah.
So yeah, Irene will. I mean, it's offerings what you can afford. If no one feels that they can afford something, then you know. But Irene will dunk like 3 silver coins in it, and she'll just go up to the altar and kneel and just does a short prayer, because she's gonna pray that Bruce will get his like internet connection back properly, and like holding the cross that she carries around her neck while she prays.
So you do that. As you kind of come to a finish, Father Thomas will come on out of the room. He will just wait for you to finish silently because he's respectful.
Yeah, she'll finish.
He says, I heard from Christoph that you were planning to build a new church.
We were hoping to bring hope to the people.
Let's just say I would not mind the competition.
That is good to hear.
I'm
So
grateful for the assistance you've already provided to Riverside.
So you have figured out who we are then?
To be completely honest with you, I had a strong idea when he kind of like edges, his head nudges towards the doors. He says, ever since Simon told me your name.
I see.
You know, if Christoph weren't on his way to be the next City Watch captain, I'd probably be asking him to be my successor. Good man. He's been advocating for us for months. Just sad he's never been able to make any headway.
The current captain of City Watch is a friend of mine. I am sure we can come to some arrangement.
I would like to meet him if I could ever have the opportunity. Maybe speak of our plight to him. I understand the West Side has problems of its own with that damnable brothel and that mass killing a couple months ago.
I'm afraid I've not heard of that.
This was during the curfew.
Oh,
Near
right.
where the toll are located. They're just a mercenary band. They don't bother with us. We don't bother with them. A few of them, actually, on occasion, came to the congregation, but very rarely. Sometimes they came to confess. To be honest, they're a lot cleaner than most of their sort. But I suppose they are professionals and the brothers are simply murderers, so that is a given. But one of their places of business was burnt to the ground, and dozens of men were found both inside and outside, mauled as if by some sort of hideous beast.
I see.
From what I heard, they tracked it back to that brothel. Interesting.
Indeed.
Of course, leads me to believe they're doing something even worse than what they're already doing. He kind of looks down and like kind of mulls over like what they might be doing in that brothel. And not in that way, actually. It's in the other way. It's in the very morbid, oh god, what are they doing in there? Like, are they killing people? sort of way. Yeah, he looks very derisive to towards the ground for a moment. Maybe you could inform the watch to just close it down.
I shall.
One less problem for the west side, and really one less problem for Riverside is good for everyone.
Couldn't agree more. I was thinking perhaps a way to build hope here would be to build another watch post. Build it here, not in your congregation, of course, but perhaps close by. Then the City Watch could train, especially those youngsters who might need some extra discipline, but who are willing to help out this part of Riverside. As she smiles and thinks back of the youngster that he just kind of sent on his way. We do not
Maybe.
have a bruise yet.
Pardon?
I was just hoping that we might have a bruise back, but...
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh!
He's
Yes!
back!
Finally!
Sorry, I had to do a few things. It's amazing how opening your door lets in a lot more Wi-Fi.
It's a very nice door. Very polite, very, very generous door. Much like Father Thomas, just he's not a door. Yes, well. Again, thank you so much for your help already in restoring Riverside. I hope you're twice as successful here as you were in the South Side.
Let's hope we can continue to build Riverside up.
Give Christoph my well wishes.
We shall do so.
Thank you. If there's anything more I can do to help, please let me know.
I might be sending one or two of my people over here.
Be careful.
That is alright.
This place is still dangerous. If they come alone, they'll most assuredly be robbed or worse.
I understand.
They would not come without protection.
That is good to hear.
And I'm somewhat handy with the tool myself. I could reinforce those doors for you, perhaps. Or perhaps maybe add an extension, make some more room for your congregation.
You know, it does have that rusty squeak now. Could use of a proper oiling. That's a joke. I didn't know you were a craftsman. I thought you were a bodyguard.
A bodyguard must be capable of keeping his own wares, swords, his armor, well in good condition. It's not the same craft, but it's translatable. And I'll roll my manipulation subterfuge for that one again. Give it away that I'm the city's most famous smith.
You don't have fame yet, it's fine. You can take it, though. Okay, he fails, so you're fine. He kind of says jokingly, Well, you must be a cut above the rest of them, because I know far too many sellswords who do not engage in that sort of practice at all. In fact, none of them do. You could probably teach them a thing or two.
They would have to pay me, so I would not be against that.
Unfortunately, I lack the money or the resolve to pay you anything. My apologies. I have failed you.
It is not your fault. Memnon kind of chuckles, knowing that this is a little bit of banter going back and forth.
But if that's all, I really should get back to my patients.
Of course. May we receive your blessing?
Of course. Common sense kicking in the Google chat.
I asked about them.
I mean, you did, and you kind of didn't.
Okay. As he kind of, I don't know what he will do for.
He brought them up, if I recall. You never followed up on it.
Oh, I mean, we had an entire conversation about them.
Yeah, it was him, like,
Okay.
just making statements, and that was it.
Okay, sorry.
That's right.
I didn't will ask about the pagans.
The pagans.
The pagans.
Or rather, he referred to them as the Avestans.
Yeah.
Investants?
So Irene will ask if he knows where she might be able to find them.
I could tell you. They how to say? Let us walk out for a moment. I should be able to point you in the right direction. They actually gather quite nearby. Just all the way down the road. Just one moment. He'll walk out of the building. If you head, and he'll just point. If you head down that road and to the right, you'll find a myriad of back roads and quite many hovels. But they kind of gather in alcoves that they use to conduct their ceremonies. They prefer to do so outside. I couldn't tell you why. I know little about their faith. I've picked up a thing or two here and there, but
Okay, we will see if we can get in touch with them. Thank you.
anytime. I have to say, I'm quite concerned for them. I haven't heard from them in a long time, and it used to be quite close.
I see. We will see if we can find him.
Do look after yourselves, and thank you again.
We shall. Thank you. Yay, leaving in the direction of the pagans.
Yeah, the young kid, or the young man. who was carrying that compost around earlier, has kind of just been kind of hanging around the doors and on the inside. So he's kind of been listening in on this conversation the whole time. He's actually he's smiling quite optimistically at you guys. Although he keeps it quite muted as you leave. And he'll just go, lady, sir.
Memnon nods.
As will Eirene.
And yeah, you begin heading towards the area where the pagans are. Where the pagans were. Or rather, where the Avestans are.
On the way there, Memnon's just going to comment to Eirene that he thinks Father Thomas has the making of a luminaire. At least that's what he gathered from.
Oh, pardon?
Memnon says to Eirene that he thinks Father Thomas has the makings of a luminary.
Eirene will nod. She seems to be in thoughts mostly. I worry about these people attending his congregation that are not from Riverside.
Why is that? It's rather obvious. With all the destruction and all the displacement of the people, this is a land grab. This is an opportunity for those with money to exploit the situation. Why, the men he referred to, the laborers, the carpenters, most of those men I brought into Riverside to speed reconstruction. But I suppose that what they're building isn't for the people of Riverside. People wanting a part of Riverside.
I hope you are right.
We should keep our. I don't even know if that expression exists yet, but still, perhaps you are right. We should look deeper into this. Why there are those who are motivated to band into Riverside? That is a worthy question.
Well, the thing is, if one of these fires, these infernal fires, are going to start here, this church might be an interesting location for them to destroy. And under the ruse of forming opportunities in Riverside, helping out, there could be cultists. I am not sure, of course, and I do not know enough to speculate. It might just be the people that you've sent here. Let's find these pagan places first before we might find some answers there.
Agreed.
And onwards they go.
And onwards you go. You make your way down. The streets are largely empty. Most of activity is centered around the chapel, where there's like a few people. Again, people you've already seen. Get down the road where Father Thomas directed you, and then to the right, which is a very thin road or thin path, and again gives you access to a bunch of back alleys, which all branch off into these little alcoves outside that seem to be tiny little gardens. Seems like they weren't professionally made as extensions to the building. Actually, Menmon, roll me cross architecture. or sorry, perception architecture.
Right up. Does my merit of acute sight come into play?
Yes. It's
so that's-
sight-based, so yes.
4 success if the difficulty is 6. Because then with my acute sense, it would drop down to 5.
Yes, you can tell these alcoves weren't built professionally as extensions to these buildings. In part because they're not connected properly. The way it's laid out is very inefficient and convoluted. Like as a whole, like it certainly wasn't designed as sort of a block of alcoves. It doesn't even look like they were designed as extensions to the building that they were extended to. There's no door that leads into the house to allow for kind of an exit into the little mini garden, as it were, the patio or the alcove. There's like this the stone and the yeah, it's because it's also made out of stone. The way it's not really connected. Like it's not bricked on properly. In fact, it's not really bricked on at all. It's almost as if it's treated separately.
Just abutting
Yeah,
other buildings.
it's just abutting a building. And the table, the stone table and benches, in addition to being rather strange and unorthodox for this day and age, seem to imply that it is in fact a deliberate gathering point. And in fact, both of you notice that the table has built into it what appears to be effectively what has been chiseled from the table is a goblet made of stone, but it's like it is part of the table. And all the little alcoves have these.
Can I reference my occult to see if that has like any kind of function aside from just being
it does
decorative?
actually have some inscribing that seems to go one sec. Let me check. Let me check if it actually yeah, it goes it goes sorry, not counterclockwise, clockwise around the goblet itself.
What particular language is it in?
It's in a language you do not understand. I can guarantee you both this. But it is effectively part of the table. Does anyone have theology? Zoroastrianism.
Unfortunately, I do not have that.
Does anyone have intelligence and does anyone have investigation? I was gonna say intelligence, and I'm like, it's rude. But yes,
I got
anyone
investigation.
can roll. Everybody with investigation can roll me perception and investigation at intelligence investigation difficulty 8.
Saskia. Saskia. There you go.
Sorry, I was muted, but I was looking up my score, and wow, I have 4 successes.
Nice.
Oh, sorry, 3, because it's difficulty 8.
Oh yeah, it's difficulty 8, so... one success you can tell, this is clearly religious in nature, and Menmon, you can clearly tell these appear to have been constructed with the specific purpose of being locations for ceremonial purposes. Obviously, the goblet in the center appears to be central to this in some fashion. It could be. I'm not sure what it's quite for though. It could be anything to like is some sort of confessional ceremony to the equivalent of saying grace before dinner. Not entirely sure as to what its purpose is, other than that it's clearly religious. It's probably made by the people. It's absolutely made by the people that Father Thomas is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it is ceremonial in nature, and the stone goblet, which is a part of the table, is central to that. Eirene, you get all that.
Mm-hmm.
You get that and you look into the goblet, you actually see cinders. So this is used to burn things.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the inscription and the fact that it's used as a candlelight, and the fact that this is a fairly small place, you think that this is likely... You gather that this is probably not used for any one ceremony. This is probably used for several minor rites, nothing particularly serious. Likely as, again, equivalent to saying grace before dinner or introductions to gatherings. You kind of make a rough equivalent to the Lord's Prayer, like a routine ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
A routine rite, rather than something that's like, this is not a place where like a Zoroastrian bishop equivalent would say, you are excommunicated from the faith. This place is far too small.
Yeah.
And it appears to be far too general, almost utilitarian in purpose. Despite the fact that it looks odd to you, you can tell that this would be a rather generalized setup. Like, you can gather that. Like, it's odd to you, but that's because you don't follow the faith. By Eirene putting herself in the mind of one of these people, she can kind of get a better idea of what this place might be for. In other words, through the great powers of empathy, she begins to get a better idea of what this place is for. The language is likely tied to the faith itself. Given the very, very ancient nature of Zoroastrianism, it's probably specific to the faith itself. This language is clearly not something you've seen before.
Okay.
So it is likely tied to Zoroastrianism itself. If you approached a scholar or a religious scholar in general, you may be able to find out what language it is if you present them with the text. If you actually had some paper and charcoal with you, you could probably copy it down.
Yeah, well, I don't think Irene was that smart to bring that along. AKA, I'm not gonna say that I did because I was not really prepared for something like this.
You did say there was cinder inside the goblet, right?
Yeah, it's used for burning things.
So is there any ashes in there? Was it cleaned
Yes,
out?
there is. Cinder and ashes.
Well, I think Memnon would, having looked at the inscription himself, he would suggest to Irene, like, if maybe we could write the inscription down on the piece of paper Father Thomas gave you, if there's room for it on there.
Mm-hmm. I
Do you
could
wanna know?
potentially do that.
Do you want to know what's funny?
Mm-hmm.
Pens don't exist yet.
So he had ink, right, Father Thomas?
You could go back and ask him.
He didn't write in his blood, did he? God. Hardcore.
I mean, doesn't graphite already exist?
It does, yeah, I think so.
There you go, that's your ball pen.
You pull out a thin stick of graphite out of your ass.
I didn't say I had it. Jeez.
Does anyone have eidetic memory?
No, I don't believe Irene has. No.
Okay. If you want to remember it for later, you'll need to make an intelligence alertness. Probably just an intelligence roll to remember. But yeah.
Okay.
And you can just attempt to come back a night later and copy it down.
That might also be a thing.
Or we could be total. I'm sorry, go on.
Itself is fused to the table, so it's not going anywhere. And don't make that intelligence roll now, please. God damn it!
I made it.
But
I
you're
got
not
an 8 and a 7.
You're not remembering it now.
Oh.
You know, we could be total jerks.
Actually,
Combined
yeah,
potence.
actually, no. I was actually, yeah. Let's just make the intelligence roll now. It's for the purposes of memorization. So, Irene, you remember about 40, not 40% of it, like 60% of it, 50%. Remember about half of it.
Well, Memnon, if you could remember the other half. Or not. So, but there's no one inside, right? So it's just a table.
Just a table. And the row, if you keep following the little pathway down through this convoluted network of alcoves, not convoluted, but just constant branches, like constant, the pathway just has a little detour into one of these alcoves. Just splits into another alcove, splits into another alcove. It's like a dozen of them, it's ridiculous. You actually enter a rather large clearing where you find a much, and it's like the dead end of it's kind of like a big dead end. But it actually looks quite well looked after. It's very clean. Greenery aligns the edges of the walls. It's almost like a small garden in a way, and at the center is this very large metal goblet. Very large, like very, really big. Like you could fit a person in it. You could fit multiple people in it.
Okay.
And again, inscriptions in the metal. Roll me perception awareness.
One success.
You are reminded from one of your earlier visions as you gaze upon this massive. It's not even really a giant goblet. It's more like a cauldron.
Mm-hmm.
But it is more in the shape of a goblet than a cauldron. Just very large. A massive pillar of fire erupts from it as
Holy shit.
it shoots up into the sky, which briefly turns red.
Sorry, Chris, I don't hear what you're saying at all.
Okay.
Bruce, are you scratching something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't know you could hear
Wow.
that. My
So a
bad.
massive pillar of fire shoots up into the sky, along with several others from what you can see in the far distance, as it causes the clouds to turn black and kind of arrive together into a thick black smoke, almost akin to your obtenebration, as a massive, long, writhing, crooked, clawed hand forms. This giant claw formed of this anti-light. Just brings this, and it brings its crooked claw down on the palace and crushes it before burning itself and dusting away.
That's basically what she sees right now?
Yeah, make me an intelligence occult roll.
Two if it's div 6, one if it's div higher.
Okay, you understand based on this. You'll need to roll courage after this as well because you saw a massive gout of flame.
Oh boy.
You know that something bad, something catastrophic will happen to the palace or the people of the royalty of Odessa. If whatever happens, it happens. Something is meant to happen with this item. But whoever's doing it won't, or whatever's doing it, it will harm itself in the process. It will die. It will destroy itself.
AKA, it's basically a suicide mission.
Possibly. You don't know if whatever's performing this rite knows if it's going to be destroyed. It may well be resigned to its fate or its death. It might not be. It might be an accident. You only got 2 successes, and you only got 1 success on the
explanation.
Merit roll, yeah. So
yeah, fair
I
enough.
can't tell you much more than that. But Yeah, you don't.
Sorry,
need
can
to-
I get a rehash? Because I completely missed like a lot of stuff because I kept dropping out.
Oh yeah, this whole pillar of flame stuff. That Menmon doesn't see that. That's Eirene being insane. So.
Oh, okay.
That's Eirene.
Don't worry, it's just me.
Crazy old Irene.
Right.
Crazy little Eirene needs to roll courage. Difficulty
Oh, boy.
8.
Jesus, right. Okay.
Let me double check for you. Let me double check.
I got a 9.
Boo.
No eating Memnon today.
I don't know. Let me double check. Could be Def 10. You never know.
Wow. I mean, yes, it could be.
Come
I'm
on,
gonna
Def
skip
10.
the fuck out, Irene.
I know he will.
Well, this is actually just Def 6, funnily enough.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, you're more than welcome to like raise it because it's like vision thing and lots of angsty stuff. But yeah, I got a 9, so I'm good.
XD stuff. No, you're fine. A bit shaken, but fine. Menmon, Irene is shaken at this weird metal goblet at the end of a road in like a big clearing. It's basically the end of a road or the end of a pathway in these back roads, and this dead end is kind of where it opens up, and it's almost like a small circular garden. Looks very well kept, and in the center is this massive metal goblet with strange inscriptions on it, and it's more like a cauldron because you could fit multiple people in it.
And this has caused Irene some visible discomfort.
Yeah, for some reason. She's just stared at it for like 30 seconds and grown very uncomfortable.
Well, Memnon won't comment on her discomfort, but he'll take it just a closer inspection of the interior of this goblet. Does there appear to be anything inside of it?
Did we lose Chris?
Oh, okay, it wasn't me this time.
No, it's not you this time.
What's up? What's up? Sorry, I needed to go for like 20 seconds. What is it?
Oh, that's all right. Memnon just wanted to take a peek inside the cauldron and see if there was actually anything in there.
There's nothing in there, completely clean. Actually, something that does stick out to you is that it doesn't seem affected by the environment at all, like it hasn't rusted or anything. There's no dirt on it, no dust.
Could I determine what kind of metal this cauldron is? Is metal? She did say it might have been metal.
What cross field would this even be? Like, freaking cutlery? Goblets? Drink? Cauldrons? I don't know. Just roll me your cross. Your intelligence cross. Perception
Cauldrons are
cross,
usually
rather.
cast iron.
I mean, it does depend on the purpose of what you're using the metal for. But, perception, craft. Nada. Yeah, I got zilch. So I suppose.
Ooh. No. Bad dice.
Yeah. So Memnon just He just stands there and says, "Yep, that's a cauldron."
These thick
Yep.
skinned guys.
Oh, Memnon. Irene will, the time that it took Memnon to discover that this was indeed a cauldron, that was the time Irene kind of needed to get her senses back together. And she'll just give like that wide-eyed look to Memnon, saying, "This is it. This is the place with the fire, and this is where it will happen. That we need to find a way to destroy that." As she points at the cauldron.
Irene, what in God's name are you talking about? What fire? And the source of what? Thirdly,
In the near future, I don't know how near, there will be a fire coming from 4 places in the city. This will be one of them. The fire is not. It's an infernal fire, and I don't know exactly what will happen, but I know it will be bad.
I have a better word for this. It's less a goblet more than it is a very large brazier.
Ah.
that makes sense.
There you go.
The future, you say? You have visions of the future.
Irene looks slightly surprised that Memnon was not aware of this. Oops. So she'll just slowly nod.
If you want to destroy this thing, we can do that. So it was. You said it was attached to the ground, right? I'm sorry, I'm saying that out of character.
I think it was attached to something, Chris. Was it?
Pardon?
Was it attached to the ground, the table, whatever? What was it attached to?
The small stone brazier was attached to the stone table as a part of in all those alcoves. So there's a little stone brazier attached to each table in each alcove. But this big silver brazier doesn't seem attached to anything.
And can it be moved?
You can try.
Let's give it a try.
Okay.
You have potence.
We got that in spades.
Excellent. Excellent.
Else I have another idea, but that's gonna be probably painful.
Okay. Okay. So, you go to touch it, you go to grab it, and you reflexively just put down your hands.
Like some sort of a spell making us stop touching it?
You just let it go.
Okay. Irene will give Memnon a look like, maybe it's not as stupid as it sounds that I have visions when you see this happening.
If you consider touching it again, you'll just consider that it's not worth the effort and not try and touch it. Like, you'll just come to believe that it's not worth your time, or rationalize it in some other way.
Chris,
Mm-hmm.
may I try and put the cross against it?
Do you actually have that on you?
Yes, I have stated this before we started the scene. If you scroll to the top of the group chat, it's there.
Okay.
Also, if you want to get rid of it, this might be the perfect occasion for it. Because I know it's been annoying you.
Yeah, for some reason I just forgot that you had that on you. I don't know why, because you mentioned it before. So anyway, okay. So what are you gonna do with the cross?
She's gonna, because Irene, strange may it be, does not have a big death wish, only a small one. So she is first just gonna very slowly bring it in the vicinity of this whatchamacallit, goblet, but what did you call it again? Sorry.
Brazier.
Brazier, that was the word I was looking for. Thank you. So just very slowly begins bringing it to the brazier, and we'll start praying in Latin because we can.
Okay. Gonna roll a chance die to see what the fuck actually happens. Numerous different things could happen.
I know.
Okay, you get the worst possible outcome.
Seriously? Oh no.
Okay, not the worst, just the most violent reaction.
Okay. Oh shit.
Your prayer proves so effective that that meant you notice the crucifix that Irene brandishes begins to glow as she prays, as she presses it against the brazier, and it ignites the brazier into a furious flame that begins to consume the entire garden and her and you.
Oh shit.
Fuck.
Sorry.
The hell, Irene?
Oops.
Because guess what? You are also unholy as fuck.
We're also what?
So what it does is that it begins to spread very rapidly. It doesn't spontaneously combust, but the flames begin to devour the entire garden and the brazier very quickly, so you need to move immediately if you want to get away. Also,
Yeah,
make me an overall check roll, difficulty 6.
So can I react to it too, or am I just too caught up in praying for the moment?
Oh no, you can react.
Okay.
Your effect has happened. Menmon Roshrex.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So I need to roll courage as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Difficulty 6.
Oof. I got a 7.
Okay, Irene, you don't enter a blood-curdling frenzy. However, you hear the feral howls of the beast in Menmon as he leaps to the ledge of a rooftop and begins scrambling up as he begins fleeing in a terrified frenzy on top of a building that in theory multiple people can see.
Okay. Can Irene pull him away from like any eyes?
Oh, he's jumped up a building.
I mean, Irene can jump up the same building, really. You said he was scrambling up, so can she just grab his legs and, like, pull him on the street again?
Make me a strength brawl roll to tackle him back down.
Okay. Strength brawl, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will spend blood for potence, and I will put another dot in my strength.
Okay, Menmon will also be spending for potence as he is in frenzy.
Of course.
So roll your contested rolls, guys.
Potence. Strength roll, right?
I got 3 successes plus. I got 7 total. Oh no, wait, it's pre XP spent, right? Shit. I got 6. No, I do have 7. You already approved my XP.
Yeah, I already
Got.
approved yours.
Now I'm confused. Okay, so I have 7.
Alright, so 5 dice plus a blood point is spent for potence, right?
Mhm.
So that's 2 plus 3, that's 5 success.
Yes.
Okay, Menmon, you are unceremoniously tackled down. Down into one of the into the path, smashing through one of the walls of the alcoves.
Oh,
Just
Bruce,
prior.
what are you doing?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, my bad.
We're gonna keep this simple. So Menmon, Bruce, just roll me courage again. Difficulty 6.
Alright, I had what my courage was rating 4. That's why I see the extra die there, although I still failed. But so I'm gonna roll 5d10 for my courage.
I mean, your 1d10 was a 10, so you would have made it, but.
No, but I got 2 1s, so I still
Oh, right.
failed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes.
All right, you come out of Rotrek fairly rapidly. Irene, you hold him down for about a full minute.
Mm-hmm.
You try and gag him, but then he tries biting at you, trying to get past you to try and get away from the fire.
Yeah, Irene will keep an eye on the fire, because if it comes close to them again, like, they'll have to move.
Yeah. Right. Then when you come out of Rotrek, and 1 second, because that's a big problem. What is your road score?
Oh, I'm 6. 6.
7, 8, 9, 10, Okay, please roll me conviction difficulty 10, please.
Jesus.
This is a
I'm
road
gonna-
check because you gave in to your beast.
Oh no.
Thanks, Irene.
Hey, I didn't know this was gonna happen, okay?
Oh no, I just have visions of the future. I have a magical cross. I'm
I-
gonna touch it on the cauldron.
I don't hate you, Saskia, but I think Bruce does.
Oh, oh no.
Well,
Out of pure shock, I turned on the television.
I regret to say you lose a road dot, sir.
Oh no.
As
I
you
am never gonna improve my spirituality again.
Oh no.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
Oh no.
Don't
Oh,
play with fire or True Faith, kids.
sorry, I didn't know it was gonna burst into flames.
Nope, that's
Oh,
kind of.
Yes, you did. You had a vision. You knew that this was gonna happen.
Oh, that was
That's
different
true
flames.
facts. True
That
facts.
they were different
facts.
flames.
I
But you are
really
right. Oh god.
totally planned this. She totally planned this, Menmon. She's trying to get you fucked.
Dude.
She's trying to make you lose a road. She's trying to get your humanity. You need to stop her.
Yes. Menmon, you kind of come out of your red haze being held down by an incredibly strong Irene,
Oh,
who's hitting you
no.
with enough potence that is quite close to the levels your sire had, just from sheer force.
But we're still in this garden. There's still fire going on, right?
No. You leapt up a building, then Irene leapt up the building and tackled you off. And tackled you all the way, basically, as you got, she kind of literally made a leaping tackle at you, which thrusted you back down into the path that led up to the fire, through the walls of one of these alcoves, or one of these tiny patios.
Oh, yeah.
So we're clear of the fire then.
You're
Yes.
clear of the fire.
So you can get mad at Irene now.
I'm not sure how that self-awareness works about losing a road score in character, but yeah, Memnon will be like, "What the hell did you do, Irene?
I didn't know
Set
that
that
was
thing
gonna
off.
happen. I did not set it off.
You touched it, and then
I did not know it was going. I had hoped to burst it. I tried to destroy it, okay? Something bad
well,
is gonna
something
happen with
sure
that
did
thing.
first. Yes, it already did happen.
No, worse. Look, trust me on this. Somewhere in the upcoming nights, I don't know exactly when, but that thing is gonna shoot fire up in the sky. Not fire like this, like some sort of bluish fire, and it has like some deep black smoke coming out of it. And there will come a monster that is scarier than this fire altogether. I can assure you of this.
Everybody make me a perception awareness roll.
Hmm.
Yes.
I swear, if that monster is coming out now, I'm gonna kill you.
I only have perception. I don't have awareness.
Well, fuck.
It's gonna be our famous last words. Well,
I got 4 successes.
Irene, is your shadow bending on its own? Is Menmon's shadow bending on its own?
What?
Why is every shadow
Oh
in the
no.
pathway in the alcove pressing down on you?
Oh shit. She will try and make Memnon aware of this. Okay, something bad is happening right now.
I mean, I just run, but that's just, it's just me.
I mean,
What's worse?
look at the shadows.
Menmon, all the shadows are pressing downwards and growing thicker and kind of pulling together, and your own shadows are acting in this fashion completely outside of your own volition.
Memnon, he looks at this, then looks to Irene. You're not doing this.
No.
Memnon is going to push Irene off of him and grab her by the wrist. Let's get the fuck out of here then. What are we waiting for?
Shadows detach from you.
Our shadows are what?
Shit.
Sorry, Chris, what was the last thing you
Take
said?
a cohesive form on the wall behind you.
Irene, I suggest we just run.
Yes.
Oh, geez. One question though. With the shadows doing this, are we able to see it anywhere in any direction?
Literally everywhere down this road, and even some of the shadows down the road are literally pulling on the wall behind you, and they're pressing down very hard on you. You don't feel any force, but they're kind of all gathered where you are. It's actually very, very dark where you are right now as a result. And it's just continuing to grow.
Chris, can we make an occult check to see if this is, because I feel like this is the abyss kind of breaking down on us. So can we make like an intelligence occult roll to kind of get what's happening?
I don't know. Do you want to stick around and find out?
No.
Well then, there you go.
I mean, oh man. Fuck.
I'm just gonna say, the longer you wait,
Crap. I'm gonna run. I need to run.
Take a form. So you all run away.
Oh no, I don't want to. I don't want to abandon the people here, but fuck. I don't think we have the strength to whatever happens here to stop it.
What are we doing now? Are we running?
I think we're running. Are we running? Or are we going to try and defeat this?
I'm going to assume you're running.
I mean,
you've already stated Irene is running, so the question is, what is Menmon doing?
Yeah, I'm running right behind her.
Okay, there you go.
will look over my shoulder. Regularly, not the entire time, because then I will run into a building.
1 second. You see that briefly before you round the corner.
Oh shit. Fuck my curiosity. Fuck my out of character curiosity.
Irene doesn't have that flaw. Stop it.
I don't think Irene has that flaw, no.
There you go. You're good. But yeah, I think with you fleeing the area and Menmon doing that twice, But we can end the scene as Eirene and Menmon flee with the information they have gathered. With a monster chasing close behind. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching, and we'll see you all next time.